have been thinking a lot about when I went through Indoc and how it has changed me into the way that I have become so far. I'm still continuing to grow, hopefully still continuing to get better every day. One of the things that really has stuck out in my mind, I've talked about Major Adrian before. One of the things that he used to say every day was, today is probably going to be one of the worst days of your life. And thinking about that in the context of where I was at before I started training, I want to go back and just talk about that for 1 second. When I graduated from high school, I didn't know specifically what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to do something that was worthwhile, obviously, like everyone else does, but I didn't know what that specific thing was. I always had something medical in the back of my mind. And, through a couple of experiences that I had with a baby when I was working at JCPenney's, a baby went unconscious, wasn't breathing. I didn't know what to do. And then there was, a couple of times when people in my own family had medical emergencies and I had no idea and no reference on how I should act or what I should do because I hadn't experienced that. It was, me just kind of figuring out things. I had made a decision that I was going to dedicate my life to joining pararescue. Once I decided in my mind that I was going to pursue this route and pursue this dream of becoming a PJ and having the opportunity to save somebody, there was no turning back. And I had pretty much put my life up on the table saying that I was going to do this. Otherwise, I was going to come back, in a casket or something else. The dream of making a difference, and I couldn't think of anything else that would be of a bigger impact than giving my life for a purpose. There's plenty of people out there that pass away due to other issues, and I didn't have a lot of control of my life, but I knew that I had a vision, and if I was going to not make it, it was going to be for a specific purpose, and that I was going to be able to say, and my family was going to be able to say that he died for something. When Major Adrian used to talk about today being the worst day of your life, I kind of accepted that, and that this was part of the process that everyone has to go through in order to show what they're made out of. Because when you think about PJ going up to a SEAL or a Green Beret or any other special operations forces, everyone has a certain level of respect, even though we will have, back and forth and one selection is harder than the other. There's always going to be that sort of rivalry, whether it's healthy or not. It's up to the person. I think that it's good because every single person that's there has poured their life into some sort of mission, whatever it may be. If it's, Rangers or Green Berets, they saw a subset of the population that they wanted to emulate and they pursued that route. So everyone is pretty embedded into that mindset, especially when you're a younger person and, you see the different hats. As I've continued to get a little bit older and more mature, I've seen that, everyone is there for a purpose and everyone poured their heart and soul into whatever kind of mission that they saw. And every single person has their own place in that whole mission set and not just, a little subset of everything that's going on. But there is that certain respect that is given to anyone that has been through all of these trainings because none of them are easy. And like I said, it takes a commitment from whoever that individual is that is joining that force to say, this is me putting my life on the line because I believe in this so much. And that is what it takes for anybody to be 100% successful in anything they pursue in life. So when I think about the days that I put in before I joined and how hard I pushed myself, I was working multiple jobs. I was going to the gym. I was going to college, enrolling in college. A lot of the courses I actually did fairly well in. There were some that I just did not care about at all because I didn't see it being a part of my future. Although, of course, I was dead wrong and I was young at that point. It was mostly English classes that I didn't like to write. And I didn't like to spend a lot of time, correcting my grammar because I didn't see it as something that was important. Now, I guess we could debate whether that is or not because now we're going to text. But either way, I was busting my ass to make sure that I was ready to go whenever the time came. When I got to Indoc, I wanted to prove that I can continue and I can pursue this thing that I told everybody that I was going to do. Every morning at 4 o'clock when we would go out there with our rucks and grab the log, carry it to the chow hall it took about 30 minutes, even though it was like a half mile from our dorm rooms. But the first thing in the morning, waking up, and I'm not a morning person, but grabbing that log after your body's completely sore from getting beat down the day before, it definitely is very painful. Through that pain, you find your resolve and the amount that you're willing to go through for a certain purpose. And you are completely surprised by the amount that you're willing to put yourself through when you actually get into the zone and you are forced. It's kind of like every time I jumped out of a plane, I would rehearse and think about all the things that I had to do, my hand movements, when I'm going to check my altimeter, my airspace, and make sure that I'm falling appropriately and that I can see all the rest of my guys and I'm going to be landing with them. But whenever that ramp opened and the jump master tells you to stand up, that's when all of those things kind of go into the back of my mind, and then I start actually playing the tape as in real time rather than trying to play it forward and see it in my mind. You get in that zone and then it's just go time. The next time you start thinking about all the other things that are happening in life is when you get out of that free fall and you land on the ground, because at that moment, that free fall is the most important thing. And it was the same thing when I went through Indoc. Is I planned for so long and I thought about everything that was going to happen and prepared for as many situations as I could possibly prepare for. Of course, you can't prepare for every single little thing because you never know what's going to happen. But by the time I got there, I felt like I'd put in literally everything that I could to make this thing a reality. And I got talk from all the other students that ended up quitting, saying how much they did. And it was, of course, more than what I did. And I thought that I had, put in a lot. But these guys said they had put in more. These guys ended up not making it. I don't know what was in their mind, but I know what was in my mind is that I'm not going to go home with my tail between my legs saying that I didn't make it for any other reason than I had to go to the ER for something or whatever. Even then, I would have wanted the chance to go back and finish what I started. One of the closest times that I came to failing was 5th week. You have to run 5 miles in 35 minutes. So I could probably have done that if I was healthy, but at this point I had some kind of pneumonia going on or something else. And I, of course, was not going to seek medical on an eval day because I didn't want to have a mark of not finishing all of these things on my record. So I went through with it. And by the end of it, I could barely breathe. There was snot running down my whole face. And I felt like I was literally going to pass out as I was running that last mile. But there was nothing that I was going to have keep me back from this, whether it was sickness or anything else. So, I barely made it by a second. And that was, my friends kind of silently pushing me. I would watch them as I went around the track, and these guys that I always spent time with and was roommates with, they pushed me along just by the way that they looked at me when they saw me going, because they knew that I was hurting bad. That was honestly one of the hardest days for me, just gutting through that and worried that I wasn't going to be able to breathe during all of these events that I had trained so hard for. And of course, if you have that one setback, the next week is so much more difficult because you get 2 in a row and then you are up for review and possibly get kicked out or you fail the course. So, all those things kind of run through my mind each day when I got up in the morning, whatever it was, the haunting of buddy breathing. And back then it was Sergeant Pack, who was the guy he was a beast in the water. And, I don't even know how big he is now. He was probably still a giant because I haven't seen him since then. But in my mind, all the instructors were giants, and I was a skinny 130-pound kid just trying to make it through in the water. So when we report to the schoolhouse and when we leave the schoolhouse every day, we say the pararescue creed. And the part that really always stuck out with me is the part that says, placing these duties before personal desires and comforts. The reason why is because you put yourself through so many things that suck, that no one else wants to do. And you tell your friends that you're going to go and go for a ruck and then go to the gym and then swim and then spend 3 hours there doing laps back and forth. You tell your family you don't get to hang out with them. There's just a lot that goes into this. And when I think about it, that before personal desires and comforts, there are so many times, not only when I was in Indoc, but when I was deployed. And of course, I wanted to be home with my family and spend time with them. I wanted them to know that I love them, that I want to, be able to go on vacations with them and spend the holidays with them. But, before personal desires and comforts means that you're sleeping out, maybe in a tent, maybe on a cot, maybe on the floor with your gun beside you, and you're dedicated to this mission because this is your life's work. And it doesn't matter who you are, a finite time that you're going to be able to actually be in the military doing this job that is meant for younger men to do and to handle, because your body breaks down after a while and you will start to feel it. You can continue that mindset and you can continue pursuing the goal of helping others and saving others, but 20 to 40 years is the time that you're going to have in your life to do this. And some people even less. You pursue it to its fullest extent and see where you can make the biggest difference. And that is where before personal desires and comforts come from. It's just like any other difficult job that requires an intense amount of work. You're going to miss days when you would be doing other things that you would like to do, but it's worth it because on the other side, you come out and you are this person that hopefully others respect, but most importantly, you respect yourself and the things that you did. And you remember that during these difficult times, you didn't quit, especially on your teammates and especially on yourself, because you're going to use that in the future when it comes to anything else you do. That's why so many PJs and so many other special operations people become entrepreneurs and do these big dreams, because they have that feeling of, if I could get through selection and I could prove to myself that I can do something that was thought to me to be impossible, then I can do this next thing that, people think is impossible, but I know that I can get it done. And so that mindset sticks with you. And going back to thinking about today being the worst day of your life, I think the worst days of my life are the days that I didn't move an inch forward in my life. I didn't push something. I didn't improve myself. I didn't get something done that I wanted to get done. Some people call them 0 days. Some people call it whatever, you want to put on it, but it is that time in your life that you get nothing done. And, for me, I kind of have that, thing in the back of my head where I just know that someday my time is going to be up and someday I'm not going to be here. So I want my family, my wife, everyone else that, especially you guys that's watching this video, that to know that every single day, I put forth my best foot and I push that boulder one extra inch at least, did something to better myself, did something to help others. And, at the end of the day, if it is my time at some point, then I can be a happy person with the things that I've done and the people that I've helped. So don't let the pain, the physical pain, stop you from getting to the point where you can achieve the things that you want to achieve, because physical pain is only going to be there for a short amount of time. And those accomplishments and the things that you are able to do and help people are going to be there for their lifetime if you're able to help them out, and your lifetime to know that you have done your absolute best and you've put everything on the line for a purpose. So my biggest goal when it comes to this whole channel and everything that I've created with How to Be a PJ, and when I created One's Ready, is I want people to find their purpose, and I want just to share the information, the knowledge that I've gained, the lessons that I've learned from my experiences going through selection and the multiple deployments that I've had. And I want you just to pursue that purpose to its fullest extent, see what's on the other side. And then once you're done with that, go on to the next thing and continue and grow. The biggest calling for me in life is continuing to help people and do all I can do to put in my time and, suffer whatever I got to suffer, because I know that going through Indoc, I know everything that I've suffered is worth it on the other side of it. And it'll be the same for you. The physical pain continues to mostly go away. As you get older, you get a little bit of aches and pains, but none of that really matters when it comes time to lay your head down at night and you think about all the things that you've done and you can be proud of yourself. So that's all I want for anybody that's watching this channel. So if you guys have any comments, anything, drop below. I appreciate y'all listening, and talk to you next time.